កណាបានអត់ដេនចូលរួមធ្វើជាវាគ្មិនកក់ដៅ
Good evening. I am Biko Muni Potao Saktivi, live from Seattle, the state of Washington, USA. First of all, I would like to pay homage to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And I would like to pay great respect to both venerable Dharma speakers who are joining us today in the Buddha Sasana program of the Cambodian Buddhist Monk Society in USA, presided over by Most Venerable Atimani Mangsang, the abbot of Wat Mani Sitaram in the state of Minnesota, USA. So today, our topic will be discussing about Buddhism dealing with the COVID-19, as we are aware that COVID-19 is a universal spreading disease, and it has been influenced to the lifestyle of people all around the world, not just in Cambodia, in United States of America, but also everywhere around the world. We have been affected in terms of economic problem and work problems and all other stuff that affected us in so many different ways. But today we are very honored to have invited both venerable speakers who were my previous Dhamma friends who were studying at the same university in Burma or Myanmar. So first we have Venerable Santi Tato Sơn Sadon. He also nowadays reside in California, so I will let him introduce in a moment. And next we have Venerable Sengwati, also from California, but both of Venerable reside in a different temple, so I'm not sure about the name and the location. So we'd like to greet all Venerable, greeting to all of you. And first let me start with Venerable Santi Tato. Hello Venerable, how are you doing?
Yes, I'm doing good, and thanks for inviting me to be here today. And
Pandey. So how is can you tell, first of all, can you tell me what's the name of your temple? Where is it located? Sorry, Pandey, you mute. Please unmute yourself. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Yes, and the locations that I'm residing right now here at the 66 Sunset Court, the Wat Khmer Kampuchea Krom, and this is a Khmer Kampuchea Krom community located at the San Jose City. And I myself want to introduce myself. I'm the Khmer Kampuchea Krom Buddhist monk. That's we used to learn in Burma University, and used to be the former friend, right? From the same university, and I'm honored to be here, and we start our topics with reference to the teachings of the Lord Buddha. And
thank you, Pandey. Yeah, I will ask more about that, and let me turn to Venerable Sengwati. Can you introduce about your location, where you live? Because I heard both of you from the same city, right? So what's your name, and also, sorry, what the temple of your name and the location?
Okay, thank you. My name is Venerable Wuti Seung. I'm dwelling in Camaram Buddhist Temple in San Jose City, California, USA. And the address of my temple is 2751 Merwin West, San Jose, CA 95127.
Okay,
is the address of my temple.
I think both of you live in like very close to each other, right? Because in the same city. How far from your temple to Venerable Don's temple?
It's not so far. We just drive about 10 minutes from my temple.
Oh, 10 minutes drive. That is very short. Yeah, that's very close. Yeah, so Venerable Sadon, how have you been so far, and what is the situation of at your temple, during the COVID-19 affected all over the year? So how's the life of monks there during the pandemic time?
I'm so pleased to tell you some the situations about our temple, and I'm so happy that all the Buddhist follow here is not got any infect from the COVID-19. Maybe they are protected by the holiness of the Lord Buddha. All the Buddhist follow here not even a single person got infected, and everyone's they're doing well. They're doing well, and if it's regarding the COVID-19, it is a very serious disease, and
so are there people still coming nowadays to the temple as usually?
Yes, they still come every day, and they take turns to offer the food to the Buddhist monk every day. And in some celebrations, they also celebrate as normal, even not much people, but they try to come and pay visits to the Buddhist monk and pay homage to the Lord Buddha as well.
And by the way, how many monks reside at the temple?
Here, right now we have only two monks here residing together at this temple.
Okay, thank you so much, Pandey, for sharing about the lifestyle of the monks and also the people over there. I'm very happy to hear that all of you stay safe. Now let's hear from Venerable Sengguti. How about your temple? What about people? Are they still going to the temple as normal, or is there any restriction or protection, or is there any, problem happening at the temple?
Okay, thank you. Actually, my temple is also not so different from others one throughout the United States. I think for my temple, people also come to do some kind of meritorious deed. For example, they come to offer food to the monks, and sometimes they offer the four requisites to the Buddhist monk as well. But they don't come so many at the same time. For example, we follow the rules of the authority in California. We allow to enter the temple only 15 people. And if they are family, they can come a lot, but need to sit separate from each other, separately from each other. Like we need to keep social distancing, and also need to wear masks. And our temple also prepare the gel and also alcohol for the people who come inside the temple, so that they can clean their hand, to have hygiene, to avoid the infection of coronavirus. That's why we allow people to come, but not too many as before. Just come with the amount of limited by the authority in California.
Okay.
And yeah, but we, Khmer people, they cannot avoid coming to the temple. They want to do meritorious deed, even though they're living in the dangerous situation, but they still want to come and support the Buddhist monk, because they think that the Buddhist monk have no job to do. They live only in the temple.
Yeah.
If the lay people don't support them with the four requisites, how can they live? So
at least to bring food to the temple, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great to hear that people, are still safe even within this difficult time. But let me move back to Venerable Santi Tato. As you said that our monks and people there are safe during this hardship. So I was wondering, if you can share with us, like, how do you manage to stay safe, both physically and mentally during this pandemic? What are some ways and methods you have been practicing in order to stay healthy, both physically and mentally?
Yes, thank you for a really beautiful question, and this is a really a good question regarding to the Buddhist point of view. I'm gonna to give you some answer. As you know that the COVID-19 is a really danger disease. However, we still have another kinds of the disease that bring more dangers to the lives of the human beings. As I consider many situations before the COVID-19 happens, the people they make some rumors that brings the hardships to the people. Like they say that the COVID-19 maybe is maybe the COVID-19 is bring many dangers to the human being, but the other danger is the human beings that they really scared about that. They don't know the way how to escape from that danger. And so regarding to the teachings of the Lord Buddha, everyone have to be concentrate on of some the mental practicing. They concentrate on the mental practicing, and they spend the time at their homes, and they develop the mental as well as the physical. At their homes, they're not wandering from here to there. And the Buddhist monk also tried their best to encourage them to practice as well, like the five precepts. The people they try to cultivate the five precepts as much as they can to develop, because the Buddha said that the danger is not, there is no danger more than the hatred. There is no danger more than the delusions. There is no danger more than the hungry. You see that I mentioned that. So that things when with regards to the teachings of the Lord Buddha, all kinds of this danger may it's not really affect so much on the human beings than other danger.
Yeah, Bante, thank you for sharing some information about that. So as far as I can catch up with what you was saying is that sometimes fear really overwhelms us. When we have fear, sometimes it can blind us, it can blind our vision. So we have to have right information, and it is important to be mindful and keep our mind balanced amid the imbalanced situation. Just like when the COVID break out, we know that this is already there, but if we feel like afraid too much of that, and it can lead to even more serious mental problem, because the physical disease has already exist. And then we have to maintain the balance of our mental health, not to get shocked, not to get so scared about that. So we need to have the right information about what's going on, and how to protect ourselves during this hard time. So I also would like to turn to Venerable Mangala Choto. Just like the same question that I was asking to Venerable Sandi Tato, like how do you manage yourself to stay safe, to stay healthy, both physically and mentally? And maybe you can talk a little bit about, how the, according to the Buddha's teaching, what are some causes of the disease that taught in the teaching of Buddhism? Bante, go ahead.
Thank you so much. For me, I can manage myself to stay safely. Mostly, when coronavirus spread throughout the world, and especially in the United States. It's number one pandemics countries for coronavirus, and I'm not afraid of coronavirus so much. I'm afraid that I should use my knowledge to protect from the spreading of coronavirus or infection of coronavirus on me. We use our knowledge, our wisdom. Even President Donald Trump, former president of the United States, he said that your smart action today can protect coronavirus tomorrow. So even though the best way not to let us infect with coronavirus is to stay home or to stay in a temple. But sometimes we cannot avoid going out, because we need to find something to support our lives in daily life. We need to go out to the market to buy some foods or vegetable or something to cook, something to drink like that. So we need to go out, not just staying at home or the temple. But whenever we go out, we are also afraid of coronavirus pandemic. But the best way we use our knowledge, like we should cover our face and nose, especially cover our nose and mouth with the face mask. And also we should bring gel or alcohol bottle in our car to clean it all the times, especially when we come into the temple or go to the market. Sometimes we open the door, and for the touch points that people take it all the time when they go inside. When we take that one, we need to wash our hand with alcohol or use the gel on to clean it. That is also the way to avoid spreading of coronavirus. And it is also really good, when we wear the mask. When we wear the mask ourselves, it can protect both for ourselves and protect others as well. For example, if we have coronavirus and we wear the mask, then when we talk to other people, the coronavirus will not spread to others because we wear the mask. So when we wear the mask, and even though we have coronavirus, but we can protect the life of others from the dangers of coronavirus. And also, when we wear the mask, we also can protect ourselves. If other people they have coronavirus and they don't have a mask on their face and nose like that, and they talk to us, but we wear the mask. So even though they talk to us, but it may not spread to us. That is the best way to wear the mask. And I think there are three important points to avoid spreading of coronavirus. First is to wear the mask, and the second is to keep social distancing, like a 6 feet separately from each other. Yeah. And then the hygiene, we need to clean our hand when we touch something that we have doubt that whether it has the virus or not. When we take it, after that we need to clean our hand with the gel or
hand sanitizer,
sanitizer and so on. After that, we can take our face or nose. But if we take something and then we don't clean our hand yet, we should not use our hand around our face like that.
Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing how you manage yourself to stay healthy physically. But again, as we have been following the instruction from the state that they have, stated about how we should stay healthy physically by practicing some routines like, washing hand with soap and, hand sanitizer often, and also wearing mask, especially when you go out or go into the shop or in a crowded place, and then try to stay 6 feet distant from other people so you can protect yourself and also help protect the others. It reminds me about, even we live in a temple and people come out from their homes. They came to the temple to offer food to the monks. So it is important to for all of us to wear a mask, when facing with people. Especially, I think this point is very important for us as monks because we are exposed to the public. So when we do the chanting, it's better we have the mask, so that the food in front of us also will be, hygienic, hygiene. We protect everything, during this time so that people can enjoy the food after the monk, confidently, because the monk practice all the rules and regulations during this time. That's what we've been practicing, so we stay safely. So by the way, let me move back to Venerable Sandy Tato about the mental health problem. Now we have talked a little bit already about how we stay safe physically, but how do we manage our mind in order to mentally healthy and we feel safe and we feel confident? What can you explain about how do you apply the Buddha's teaching for this hardship during the time of pandemic, affect the world and to the lives of people? So what kind of Dharma that you apply to protect yourself from, from fear of the COVID-19?
Yes, sir. Regarding to your question, so you make me remember a story concerning with the a disease of the fear and a disease of the ignorance. That story it starts from the Kesakotami, who her son died suddenly because of the disease, and then she really suffer and we're really sorry for the death of her sons, and she even brought her sons to the Buddha to bring his life back. And that time, that because of the ignorance of the suffering, and the Lord Buddha also not only a leader of Buddhism, but he is also a mental doctor. Everyone know that the Buddha also a mental doctor. So he can give a treatments to those who wishes to receive the treatments, like the Kesakotami. When she put her that sons to the Lord Buddha, and the Lord Buddha just asked her to bring the seed of the mustard, that the Buddha will bring the light of her son back. At that time, the Buddha said that the mustard seed must be from the house where there is no the dead, and so the Buddha give that treatments to her son to be back. At that time, when she tries to come to home to ask for the mustard seeds to bring the light of her son back, so she herself realized that the death come to every house, come to everyone. And so by reflecting on the disease and the truth, the Four Noble Truths, so we can realize that the pandemic disease or the COVID-19, it is not only the only things that make the human being pure. It is only a small things among that thing that make the human being pure. We still have another. When human beings they practice, they manage themselves very well in their concentrations or moral preserve. so they feel confident about themselves. They feel confident about themselves, and they try to not to be attached, not to be cravings, not to be lost, not to be in greed. And so when the human beings they got the emancipation from the cravings or the lust or the greed, and so they comes to the peaceful state of the mind, the peaceful state of the mind. So they feel very, they got concentrate. So the mental state also becomes stronger. This is the ways to deal with the pandemic or the COVID-19. And regarding the other teachings of the Lord Buddha, so the Buddha say that there is no any other disease than the hungry, and so the hungry also a kind of disease, right?
Yeah.
Hungry is the kind of the disease, but as the human beings so ignorant about that, we don't know that disease already exists long time ago inside the human beings. It root very deep in the mental of the human being, in the mental. So it's actually that one is more danger than the COVID-19. It's more danger than the COVID-19, and the other problems that bring the human beings to pure is the lust too, that bring human beings to the pure and the danger. Like for the young generation nowadays, for the young people nowadays, you see that someone they enjoy like the intoxication, smoking, alcohol, and they commit the unwholesome actions and all that thing. The Lord Buddha say that it is more danger than the disease that exceed from the natural, that the disease that is happen through our mental. And so the only ways to cure all that disease, we have to practice the insight meditation. It is the way to see clearly how the problem is take place, how the disease is take place. It is the ways that the Buddha encourage his disciples to eliminate the root of the disease. The Buddha is the mental doctor because he's not only give the treatments to the patients, but he give the patients the ways to be free from the disease too, to be free forever from the disease. Not only to the treatments to kill the disease, but to be free from the disease. He saw the origins of the disease, and he saw the way. He give the ways to walk to be free from that disease, which is the cause of the pure and suffering. So it means that for one who want to be free from this kind of the disease, those people have to practice the Eightfold Noble Faith, which consists the threefold training. The threefold training here, the training of morality, the training of concentration, the trainings of wisdom. And this three kind of training, it is the way that the human beings, that the Buddhist follower have to practice in order to be eliminate or got liberation from the pure and suffering in forever. Answer that.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Pante. You have deliver many points, which I can sum up just for the sake of audience who are watching. That especially, having the understanding, the right understanding of the cause and effect, and also the nature of reality, just like you raised the story about the Gesa Gotami, because of fear, take overwhelm the people's mind, so it can blind us from seeing reality. So when we actually see the realities of everything that has the nature of arising and passing away, just like when we born, we have to die one day sooner or later. So it is a matter of fact and nobody can avoid it. So accept reality. That ways we can, even not totally eliminate the fear, but at least we can reduce the fear which has already existed. Of course, we cannot be, totally free from fear as a normal, worldly human beings. We still have fear because we still have attachment towards our life, toward, our belongings, fear of this, fear of disease, fear of that. Just like you have mentioned that we not die only because of COVID-19. There are a lot of other causes that can lead us to death. We maybe die because of other sicknesses, because of other different kinds of disease like the flu. Every year millions of lives have been die because of flu and all other stuff, diabetes or high blood pressure, cancer, a lot of things. So COVID is not the only cause for people's death. Thank you for sharing this with us so that we can keep in mind, also to learning to trying to balance the mind so we stay mentally healthy during this hardship. Now let me turn back to Venerable Mangala Choto Sunwati. So how about your experience, based on what you have been practicing so far? How do you manage to stay healthy, mentally healthy? Is there any teaching of the Buddha that you have been applying in order to keep your mind balanced and safe during this hardship?
Yeah, thank you for this question. Actually, we have the measure to crack down this bad situation according to Buddhist perspective and Buddhist way, especially when we are born as human being, we cannot escape from having disease. Surely the Buddha said life is subject to suffering, aging, and sickness and death. And in our lifetime, even though we have life, but we have sickness, or disease. Yeah. And the Buddha also point out the origin or the cause of sickness. In Buddhism, there are four origination of disease. First, disease derived from food. When we eat food too much, we also have disease, like you said. We have diabetes, gain weight or obesity, and sometimes we have cholesterol and so on. This is caused by eating food too much. So the Buddha said this is derived from food. So we should know what food should we eat and what food should be on diet, like that. And don't eat too much, just no moderation in our eating, otherwise we have disease. And number two, disease derived from climate or weather. For example, when the weather is too cold, we may have a flu or diarrhea. And when we have the hot weathers or climate, we also sometimes have hot temperature or headache, fever, and so on. That is the disease derived from climates or weather. And number three, disease derived from defiled minds. Like Venerable Sun Saden also said that when we as human being have mental problem or mental sickness is like a kind of disease that many people in the world have it, except for the Buddha. The Buddha, when he gained enlightenment as a Buddha, he had only physical sickness, but he did not have mental sickness or mental disease like us. But for us, we are ordinary people. when our minds are defiled by defilements or mental disturbances, we have stress and we have lamentation, we have worries, and we have pain and grief in our mind like that. This cause it to have sickness or mental disease in our body. According to Buddhism, in our physical bodies, only 20% related to our physical body, but the main point, 80% is pertinent to our mental state. So whenever problem happens in our life, first it has effects on our mental, our minds, and after that, when our minds are defiled or suffer from the problem outside, it can cause the physical body to have sickness or disease like that. So the best thing is to make balance in our minds. For example, if our mind is abnormal or wandering here and there, and sometimes we feel fear about this and that, like that. Like in this situation right now, we fear of COVID-19. Sometimes because of fearing too much about coronavirus, we also have a kind of mental disease, because of that fear.
Yeah, it's
And in
true.
order to get rid of that fears, in Buddhism, we need to practice meditation, especially we practice mindfulness meditation in our daily lives, even though we are practicing in walking posture, sitting posture, and so on. This method really can get rid of fears or mental disturbances in our life as directed by the Buddha. I think it's very good method. For example, when we just focus our minds on the in breath and out breath that come through our nostril for a while, like for 15 minutes or 30 minutes, then the outside defilements such as greed, hatred, and delusion, angers, and fear, and so on, cannot come to inflict our mind. When our minds is not inflicted by other defilements, our mind will be peaceful and free from suffering like that, and we also free from fear. So we don't have mental disturbances anymore. We don't have mental defilements anymore. When we don't have mental defilements, it means that we don't have mental disease. Yeah, and when we don't have mental disease, we are really happy and healthy. And this number four disease derived from karmic forces. But for example, when we are born as human being, when we are born, we have what? Have suffering, aging, and sickness and death. Especially aging. Aging is a kind of um, karmic disease or natural disease because of we are born, so we are aging now. We cannot avoid this kind of disease. Cannot be cured. Even the Buddha, he need to pass away, because of it's a karmic force, karmic caused by the karmic disease caused by the karmic force. We cannot avoid that. Even the doctor who cure disease of people also die, and that is disease caused by the karmic force, not by any um, environment such as caused by food or climate change or caused by defilement. But this kind of karmic force, it can be causes to have disease and die, and we cannot be cured because disease caused by karma. This thing cannot be cured by any doctor. And also, if we want ourselves to live safely, you know, the best way I think is to prevent ourselves or protect ourselves from any danger. Like Khmer proverbs say, prevention is better than cure.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So we need to prevent ourselves as much as possible not to let coronavirus um, have infection on us like that. And the best way, as I said, we need to wear the mask, cover our nose and mouth, and use hand sanitizers and keep social distancing, like about 6 feet separately from each other. It is according to really measure that used by scientific field. But in Buddhism, the Buddhas also praise hygiene, hygiene. For example, in Pali word, the Buddha said, Sawati hautu sappata arokiya sakhanjeva kosalancha anamayang. So the hygiene is important in this sense that when you have hygiene, you have no disease. And when you have no disease, you have you have good health. And when you have good health, you have happiness. Yeah. When you have happiness, that is enjoyment in your life because you are free from disease. And according to Buddhism, also the Buddha said that not Pshiti Samaripo means no other enemy greater than the enemy of disease.
Yeah.
So this is the biggest enemy for human being or living beings. Uh, there are two kind of enemy inside external because internal enemy and external enemy. External enemy, it can be like a dangerous animal like tigers, elephants, and poisonous snake. This kind of snake are dangerous to people when they come to face each other. Sometimes that animal can attack us until die. That is also considered as a great enemy.
Yeah.
And sometimes our enemy can be the same human beings, like they are our enemy in the war. We need to fight each other. But this kind of enemy, we can find a way to protect them from danger. And we can also find a way to attack them to win our uh, over the enemy. So this kind of enemy is not so dangerous as enemy of disease. Enemy that is disease is considered as internal enemy. It's originated in our physical body, like a sickness is originated in our physical body. So it's not easy to fight the disease in our physical body.
Yeah.
That's why even this modern time, the scientists try to find modern medicine to cure our disease, but it's very hard. Even now, um, coronavirus pandemic is spreading throughout the world, and many scientists try to find vaccine to give injection to the people in order to prevent from spreading one person to another. But it is not easy. They spend a lot of money to produce the vaccine, and also they um, like devote their physical and mental force and also their knowledge to do that work. Yeah, in order to relieve suffering of the people that caused by coronavirus. And not easy. Sometimes even some people they give injection of coronavirus vaccine. Some people die, because of that person are old and they have a lot of disease. So when they put that vaccine into uh, their physical body, it die. They die. So it's not not so good for old people who have a lot of disease. Sometimes doctor advise not to have injection of coronavirus vaccine if they have a lot of disease and they are old. But for us, we are young. I think it's okay. We can have injection of coronavirus vaccine.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
thank you so much for
yeah,
sharing a lot of great ideas. Especially you talk about the different causes of disease that taught in the teaching of the Buddha. You know, like this is derived from food, from the karma, from the climate, the weather, and from the mind. So it's all the good idea that we can keep in mind. Some kind of disease we cannot avoid it in our daily life, based on how we consume things on a daily basis. If we know how to limit ourselves, like the way we take food, we should be aware of how we consume food into the body, how much of that amount could keep us healthy. And so the Buddha also taught about the limitation, that we should consume the things on a daily basis just to keep ourselves healthy as well. And yeah, you also mentioned a lot of good factors in order to cope with the COVID-19, especially it relates somewhat to the mental problem as we are facing because of the COVID-19. And I believe that we, even it is less or more, most of people are facing a stressful time, because of the restrictions, the social distancing, and also sometimes people, most of the time they have to be at home. They cannot go to wherever they want to do whatever they want to do, during the whole year. So I would like to turn to Venerable Santi Tato, as we are aware that a lot of people have been very stressful. So what about you as a monk? Have you been stressful because of the COVID-19? Uh, if so, what is the way to, kind of deal with the stressful time as a monk?
Um, actually, the this kind of disease is really make many people in the world they got spread because of this case of disease. Many people they lost job and they lost their school and they lost their like friendship. That many people they feel very stressed about that kind of disease. But as for Buddhist monks, we used to live in a remote place, serenity. So we practice, we have been practice and we're practicing right now. We used to live in the remote place and are practicing through the teachings of the Lord Buddhas to how to be satisfied with our situation at the present moment. We call the present moment like the inside meditation, to be aware of the situation and moment by moment. And so to live, not to be wandering, to protect our mind from wandering from here and there. And so the Lord Buddha said that uh, if his disciple living, reflecting what um, the three characteristic, the intrinsic characteristic that his bhikkhu must be very peaceful, must be very peaceful and be free from the stress. Like he said that natti santi parang sokhang. The Lord Buddha said that natti santi parang sokhang. There is no other bliss than the peace. The peace is mean that the concentration and the mindfulness, the concentration and mindfulness to keep one mind to be at one object, not to be wander here and there, and so we not got affected by many other conditions, by the climate, by the sensual pleasure, all the suffering, the disease, it happens through the sensual pleasure. To the sensual pleasure, and it's often through the five door, like the eyes contact, the ear contact, the nose contact, and the tongue contact. And when we live with focusing and concentrate our minds with that sensual pleasure, and so we not to be stressed and not to be worried a lot about that thing, the Lord Buddha. So that's why, as a Buddhist monk and the disciple of the Lord Buddha, we live with the concentrations of our mind, and so to protect ourselves from that kind of stress, and we spend our time to do the chanting. The chanting is also a kind of the concentration our minds on the teachings of the Lord Buddha every evenings and every morning, like that.
That's very good point, Pante, when you focus about what you talk about, the concentration, about the mindfulness. I think mindfulness is very, very important for us to keep our mind balanced so that we stay mentally healthy. If we are overwhelmed by fear, and it's gonna make things worse and worse. It's not gonna have anything because the disease is already there. So if the mind is second by the fear, so that's not good for us. It's gonna be more dangerous for us than normal. So that's why we need to stay concentrated. We need to stay mindful. And you also mentioned about the chanting. I believe that a lot of temples throughout the world, wherever the countries that practice Buddhism, I believe they always invite the monks for the chanting. We have some like spiritual rites following the teachings of the Buddha. The monks also chant the parita, what we say, the blessing ceremonies that people always invite the monk to. So, Venerable Srimati, do you see how the parita recitation can help to heal people in terms of mental problem during the COVID-19? Does it help in any way by reciting or chanting the Dhamma?
I think the best way is Parita chanting is only possible to give confidence to the person who is weak in mind. People usually have disease or suffering because of their mind are weak, not strong enough. That's why this kind of people, they believe that Parita chanting is powerful and effective. When they hear that Parita chanting by the Buddhist monk, they have confidence that this kind of protection chanting can give them to avoid from danger of disease like that. Just can give confidence to them. But this Parita chanting is not a medicine to cure their disease, but just can give confidence to them, not to afraid of that one so much like that. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, just that. But the best way is, hygiene and prevention ourselves according to a scientific method. For some kind of thing, a disease that Buddhism can help only through the mental disease. But for physical disease, I think the Buddhist method is difficult to help. Yeah, well, if mental disease is okay, I think.
One day I think this is a very important medicine, right? During this time of a pandemic, because of fear. So fear is a mental disease that sometimes even it is not real, but people kind of imagine or try to worry too much, so that fear can become a very dangerous disease as well when we keep too much fear within us, as it develops day by day, you know. So it's important to have some confidence in order to fight back during this time of the pandemic. And you know, it brings me back to another question. I think because of we are running out of time, so this will be the last question for both of you, especially want to turn to Venerable Santi Tato. You know, today I also just got vaccinated. You know, in the state of Washington, we also can apply for the, you know, COVID-19 vaccine. So I have just got my first dose today. For the physical disease, we have the, you know, like COVID-19 vaccine in order to protect ourselves, to fight against the COVID-19 disease. So what about the teaching of the Buddha? You know, what kind of Dhamma that you think can be the vaccine to fight against the mental disease for ourselves?
If you say that in Buddhism have the medicine to cure for the physical disease, I think the teachings of the Lord Buddha is not to be true, because the Lord Buddha say that disease, it is the ultimate reality, the noble truth. The disease, as we have this body exist in the world, so we got the effect from this kind of disease. It is one of the noble truth. It is one of the noble truth. And so the Buddha just show you the way, but the Buddha don't have any like the dosage or the capsule or the medicines to cure the disease. If so, the Buddha, he would be have all the sentient beings to be free from the disease. And so that's why at the time of the Buddha, still have many people, they also a lot of disease. And so I don't think that we have the medicines for the physical disease. So the Buddha are only blessed that those who got the healthiest is the bad preacher. It's the bad preacher not to be sick. Those person, the Buddha said that, as I remember one verse, Aroka Parama Lepo. The Buddha said that Aroka Parima Lepo, it means that good health is the bad preacher. Health is the bad preacher, and those who they develop themselves and they got the good health and to be strong, so it is the bad preacher among all other preacher. Even the millionaire or trillionaire, but if the health condition is not good, they can't so many things, and they can't do anything with their treasure. So the first thing is the health, to be healthy first. And so to be healthy, we have only way in the Buddha's teaching, that's to develop our mental. That is the medicines. But for the medicine to cure the physical, I'm not really see any points that the Buddha shows to the patient. So even you see, even a story of Madhachara, you remember that story? Madhachara,
yeah.
She got the disease because of her sons, her husband, and her family, the whole family disease. So she really got mad. At that time, she come to see the Buddha, not come to see the Buddha, she wander on the way. She unconsciousness. And so when the Buddha met her, the Buddha just called her back to mind and then asked her where she is from. And then she come to realize, because she has done a lot of meritorious deeds in the previous existence. So that's why he met with the Buddha at the right time. The Buddha give the treatments to Madhachara. at that time he come to realize from the mental disease only, not, and even the Buddha not allow his disciple to use any power to solve the pupil. Even one of his disciples is Venerable Moggallana. It is the right powerful disciple. That is the really power disciple that he can use his power to subdue any other wicked being, like the snake, the dragon at the lifetime of the Buddha. But the Buddha prohibit his disciple not to use that kind of power to admonish other people. Thus, tries to show them the noble truth and to give them the way that they walk by themselves to the end of the suffering. And also a story concerning with the Brahma, Rohita Brahma, that the Rohita Brahma asked to the Lord Buddha, "Oh, the Lord, I got the power. I can fly from this world to another world. I can step from this bank of the ocean to another bank of the ocean. But I still can overcome. I still cannot. He still cannot find the place where there is no disease, aging, suffering, and disease." And he asked the Buddha, "Is there any place that we can reach by our foot? Is there any place that there is no disease?" And the Lord Buddha said that the place that there is no disease is only the Nirvana.
Yes.
Only the Nirvana, the place there is no disease. And to go to the Nirvana, so this question I'm going to ask Venerable Sungwati, the way to go to the Nirvana, and how can we go to the Nirvana? We go by airplane, or go by any way? And this question I'm going to ask Venerable Sungwati.
Yeah, so Venerable Sungwati will answer for that. So thank you very much for sharing with what I have asked about, the Dhamma as a vaccine to fight against the mental disease in ourselves. So Venerable Sungwati, how do you see the Dhamma which act as a vaccine to protect the evil, to exist in the mind? And also you can include the Venerable Sadon's question as well.
Thank you. Actually, as Venerable Sudan also mentioned earlier, Buddhism has only Dhamma medicine to cure mental disease of the people. So I think any kind of disease that caused by the mind or defiled minds, Buddhism can help cure them. And especially when people are afraid too much about coronavirus and they become stressed, then it is the duty of Dhamma medicine to help them. As you know, in this current situations, it means the situation of pandemic of coronavirus, both monk and lay people have economic crisis, I think so. And they have a lot of worry in their daily life, For example, in Cambodia right now, under leadership of Prime Minister Hun Sen, the Ministry of Health trying so hard to prevent the spreading of coronavirus, because I got to know that 77 places inflicted by coronavirus, especially the area in Phnom Penh City. So it's become worse now, the situation of coronavirus in Cambodia. So people need to be careful about that, I think so. And these kind of things cause them to have economic crisis, because they cannot go to market to sell goods, or they cannot work in a restaurant to get money. And some store and some places are closed, like school also they are closed because of a worry about coronavirus. So when many things are closed like that, people who are businessmen cannot do any business to get money. So they don't have money in their pocket, so they worry how can they live without money because they need to buy things to eat like that. And sometimes they need to have money to pay for their rental house, or for the house that they um, buys just by payments monthly. And if they don't have job, they don't have incomes, how can they live? So they worry like that a lot during the pandemic of coronavirus time. So this kind of worry can cause them to have disease, especially mental disease. And this thing only they follow the teaching of the Buddha. They practice meditation in order to stop that worrying. If their worry is stopped, then they don't have mental disease. That is a tamak medicine can have that kind of disease for the people. And also, for Buddha, Buddha is not interested in science. um, that's why for physical disease, it's duty of the scientific doctor. Buddha is not interested in science actually, because science just a common knowledge of the ordinary people who can solve the problem in human life. So even the common people also can have that kind of knowledge to cure any disease occur in this world. And because of their common knowledge in this human world, they can handle that problem. But for the Buddha, he's really worried about disease that is suffering in the round of rebirth. Because of rebirth, people die again and again in this world cycle. And the Buddha said that birth is the cause of all kind of suffering, and suffering is the greatest disease of human beings. That's why he tried to stop the suffering or the disease not to arise again and again. So he tried to practice um, the Dhamma way in order to liberate himself from disease or suffering in the round of rebirth and death in samsara like that. So this path only found by the Buddha, not any common doctors. Yeah, he tried to practice until he attained Nibbana. Nibbana means the final death of the people. When they attain Nibbana, um, they have no more birth, they have no more suffering, they have no sickness or disease like that. So there is no death in Nibbana. There is no sickness in Nibbana. And for when the Master then said that he will ask me, I will answer you actually when I go to visit your temple, but not right now. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hante, yeah, thank you so much for sharing a great message to our audience, around the COVID-19 and how Buddhism, cope with this kind of idea, how we can tackle some of the stress, some of fight against the fear that happened during this time. So as we are on time, so I would like just give each speaker 1 minute to, give the last message. If you have anything to say for our audience, regard with this topic, Venerable Sanditato, what is your last message?
As for here, during this pandemic times, I just want to encourage all people in the universe and tries to be at home and not to be worried so much about that kind of pandemic. It is only a flu is like other disease as well, because it's not as serious as we are thinking. If we think a lot and we worry a lot, the disease of worrying is more than COVID-19.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It must be worse. Our thinking it must be worse than the COVID-19. Even the Buddha said that we dead before the disease, not dead because of the disease. And so try to be strong and develop our mentals and tries to do the sanitize and wash our hands by the scientific doctor, and we wish all the best to everyone in the universe.
Thank you, Hante. Thank you. That was a very wonderful message when you say, you know, when we worry too much, that worry can become a dangerous disease, and it can kill us. Of course, some people may not be dying because of COVID, but they may be dying because of worry. So be careful of that. And that is a good takeaway message from Venerable Sandit Tato. And now, Venerable Sengwati, what is your last message?
Okay, thank you. For my last message is that the situation of coronavirus in the world now is not better yet. It's still worse, especially in some country like in Americas and also in Cambodia right now. I saw the news. It's still worse for this situation. That's why I would like to give message to all Cambodian people or other people in the world to take care of themselves and especially try to prevent themselves from the spreadings of coronavirus as possible as they can. And I think the best way is to prevention, yeah, and follow the scientific method that advised by the Ministry of Health and Care. Because I think no disease is the best well, like the Buddha said, wealth is property, knowledge is power. Even though we have a lot of power like knowledge, but if we don't have good health, we cannot use the power of knowledge to do anything, you know. So we need to balance both knowledge and health. Health is really important. The Buddha said health is property, or health, no disease is the best wealth. When you have good health, even though you earn a little money daily or monthly, you can keep all that money for your daily lives. Yeah. But if you have a lot of wealth, instead you have a lot of wealth, but you have disease, like in Cambodia, you know, when people are sick, they spend a lot of wealth, like money and everything. Sometimes they sell the cows and buffalo and the land to get money to cure their sickness or disease. So when we don't have good health, we also don't have wealth, property, you know. That's why the Buddha said health is property, or knowing disease, having no disease is the best wealth, like that.
Yeah, thank you
And
so much. Yeah,
I
yeah.
need to
One
take
thing.
care. I want to eat. Sorry, I want to add some more point. Okay, just a few minutes.
Yeah,
I want to talk about disease. You know, disease sometimes it can caused by natures. I think if the disease caused by nature, it is automatically disappear for some time. But some kind of disease produced by people, like some scientists, they like also to produce virus, and that virus is very dangerous for the life of people in the world. For example, some country they produce chemical weapons that can cause a lot of deaths to the life of the people. That's why I want to talk about four kind of person. You know, they know the art and science. You know, the first person know how to collect bones and put together systematically, and the second person um, know how to make the form of the animal, you know, and the third person know how to put light into the form of that animal. and the fourth person know how to put soul or consciousness in the animal. Then that animals appear as a big lion when they have life, when they have like consciousness like that. They rose at that 4%, and that 4% are afraid of the lions that created by them, and they run away. And then some people, some other, they try to climb up the tree, to avoid um, the lion who they created by themselves. In the same way, some kind of scientists, they create dangerous weapon like a nuclear weapon, and then they are afraid to control that weapon. They think that if they use that weapon, it can kill masses of people. That's why they are worried about what they have produced. For virus also, like coronavirus, if it happened to be produced by people, that people who are, including the scientists who produce that virus, also worry that that kind of virus, if not well controlled, it can also have bad effect on themselves, even they are doctors.
Yeah.
So they are afraid of what they are producing by themselves. So we should know that. That's why people, even the scientists or the religious person, they need to live with the guidance of religions. Otherwise, they will be very dangerous for the world. Like we need to balance both science and religion. Like Albert Einstein, he said that religion without science is crippled, and religion without science is sorry, religion without science is crippled, and science without religion is
Blind. Yeah.
blind. Yes, so they need to help each other in order to avoid danger in human world. Thank you.
Yeah, Satu Pandey, thank you so much for raising a very interesting point, and especially you raised about the health is the best wealth for all human beings in this world. Without health, we cannot do anything. And also, you talk about we may be dying because of what we have produced. Just like some viruses may be created by human beings themselves, and human beings themselves can also be killed by what they have produced. So we have to be careful about creating anything in this world, because that can kill us as well, if we cannot control it. So in the case of COVID-19, some people say it's not natural, it may be created by human beings. So at the same time, it also cause a lot of deaths to human beings themselves. So this is, we can see that the evil, wicked mind of ourselves is the real enemy that can destroy us. So that is why in the teachings of the Buddha, he expounded, he taught us to live peacefully by doing good through physical body, through verbal actions, and through mental action. If we do so, we keep our mind healthy, we keep our physical body healthy. Also, we practice the Dhamma that will lead us to finally liberate from physical suffering and mental suffering. So our live show right now come to an end because of the time constraint. So we would like to end the live show, but before that, I would like to collect merit, accumulate all the merit that we've been sharing through this Dhamma discussion in this program of Cambodian Buddhist Monk Society in USA under the topic of Buddhism and COVID-19, as we have been discussing so far. Hopefully our audience can learn something from the discussion today. And I would like to apologize if there is any unintentional mistake happened during our discussion. And I would like to share merit with all living beings in the whole universe. May all beings be happy, be well, and liberated from suffering. So I would like to thank you again for Venerable speakers, Venerable Mangalachoto Senwati from Wat Kemararam, and Venerable Santi Tato Sadon, also from North California, for joining and sharing with us today. And also would like to say thank you to all audience who are watching and following our live show. Last but not least, thank you, Venerable President of the Buddhist Monk Society in USA, Prehatimini Mongsang, the abbot of Wat Muni Sitaram in the state of Minnesota, and all venerable monks around the globe who have been watching our live show. May all be happy and be peaceful. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye for today.
Thank